And this leads to another interesting point he brings up.
Okay.
The impact of language.
Okay.
When we talk about race and power, he critiques the overuse of terms like systemic racism,
Okay.
arguing that they can become so abstract that they lose their connection to like lived experiences.
And he even talks about how the definition of racism itself seems to be constantly expanding.
Right.
It's like any criticism or disagreement coming from a black person toward a white person is automatically labeled racist.
Right. And it ties back to his frustration with those shifting goalposts we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
It creates a situation where honest dialogue becomes almost impossible.
Yeah, it's like you can't even have a conversation.
Exactly.
Without someone pulling out the race card.
Right. And he argues that we need to be more nuanced.
Okay.
You know, recognizing the reality of historical and systemic racism while also allowing for individual responsibility and accountability.
So I'm curious, what are your thoughts on this critique of language?
It's a valid point.
Yeah.
I think it's important to define our terms clearly.
Okay.
Be specific about the issues we're discussing.
Right.
His point is that by focusing solely on systemic forces, we risk ignoring the role of individual actions and choices.
It's like he's advocating for a more balanced approach.
Yes.
One that acknowledges the complexity of these issues without resorting to like oversimplifications or generalizations.
Exactly. And it all comes back to his message of personal empowerment.
Right.
He's arguing that focusing on your own growth, developing your skills, and contributing to your community is essential for everyone, regardless of race or background.
So it's not just about dismantling these huge systems.
Right.
It's also about finding ways to empower yourself.
Yeah.
Create positive change from like the bottom up
Absolutely.
within your own life, in your own community.
It's a good reminder that we're not just passive bystanders.
Right.
We all have a role to play.
And shaping the world around us.
For sure.
Now let's bring it back to that central question
Okay.
we started with. Can black people be racist?
Well, the video definitely argues that individuals of any race can hold racist beliefs
Okay.
and engage in racist behavior. But I think he goes beyond that simple yes or no
It's
answer.
more nuanced than that.
Way more nuanced. He pushes us to like really wrestle with the complexity of race, power, personal responsibility. And he challenges us to think critically about the narratives we often hear.
It's easy to get caught up
yeah.
in those oversimplified categories,
Right.
oppressor versus oppressed.
Right.
But this video is encouraging us to move beyond those labels, engage with the nuances.
Absolutely. This has been a journey.
It has. It really has.
We've covered a lot of ground.
And I'm sure it sparked some reflection for you listening.
I hope so.
Hopefully you're leaving this deep dive not with all the answers,
Right.
but with more questions, more curiosity.
And a greater awareness of the different perspectives out there.
As you go about your day, keep these ideas in mind.
Yeah.
Think about what resonated with you,
What you agreed with, what you disagreed with.
where you agree, where you disagree, and what it all means for your own life.
Think about that balance between acknowledging systemic issues and taking personal responsibility. Consider those areas where you can take action, where you can make a difference, however small it may seem.
And most importantly, keep the conversation going.
Yes.
Share your thoughts, listen to others' perspectives, and continue to learn and grow.
This is an ongoing process,
It is.
and it's a process we have to engage in together.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into race, power, and personal responsibility.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.
So it's interesting because, like, while he's advocating for personal responsibility, he's not shying away from, the realities of historical and systemic racism.
He's not denying that.
Like, he acknowledges those challenges, that black people have faced and continue to face.
He brings up examples of how those systemic issues still play out today.
But his point is that dwelling on those injustices without taking any action,
Right.
to improve your own situation can be counterproductive. So it's not about ignoring the problem,
Right.
but more about finding a way to move forward in a way that's, constructive and empowering.
Yeah, like focusing on solutions.
Solutions, yeah. And he emphasizes that focusing on personal growth,
Right.
developing valuable skills, contributing to your community. These are essential for everyone,
Absolutely.
regardless of race or background.
It's about what you can do.
Exactly. And this kind of challenges this idea that progress can only come from, dismantling these huge systemic structures.
Yeah, like it's got to be top down.
Yeah.
He's saying it's
Yeah.
also about finding ways to empower yourself
Right.
and create change from the bottom up.
Within your own life,
Yeah.
your community.
Exactly.
Awesome.
It's a powerful reminder
Yeah.
that we're not just passive bystanders in all of this.
Right.
We all have a role to play.
So let's bring it back to that central question.
Okay.
Can black people be racist.
I mean, the video definitely argues that individuals of any race can hold racist beliefs
Right.
and engage in racist behavior.
So it's not just a black and white issue.
No pun intended, Brian.
Yeah.
But I think he goes beyond that simple yes or no answer.
More nuanced than that.
Way more nuanced.
Yeah.
He really pushes us to like grapple with, the complexity of race power, personal responsibility.
All of that.
All of it.
And he challenges us to think critically about the narratives that we often hear.
Because it's easy to get caught up.
It's easy to fall into those categories, like oppressor versus oppressed.
Exactly. And he's encouraging us to like move beyond those labels.
Yeah.
Engage with the nuances.
This has been a journey.
It really has. We've covered so much.
A lot of ground.
I hope it sparks some reflection for you listening.
Yeah, and hopefully you're leaving not with, all the answers,
Right.
but with more questions, more curiosity and just a greater awareness of all the different perspectives out there.
Exactly.
As you go about your day, keep these ideas in mind.
Think about what you resonated with, what you agreed with, what you disagreed with.
Yeah, and what it all means for your own life,
And that balance we talked about
Yeah.
between acknowledging those systemic issues and taking responsibility for yourself.
Consider those areas where you can take action,
Yeah.
where you can make a difference.
No matter how small it seems.
And most importantly, keep the conversation going,
Yes.
Share your thoughts.
Yeah.
Listen to others' perspective.
Keep learning.
Keep learning.
Keep growing.
It's an ongoing process,
It really is.
and we have to do it together.
We do.
All right, so you guys sent us this YouTube video called Beware of the Woke Liberal.
Okay.
It's from the channel Aquarius Wave, and let me tell you, this one, it's a doozy.
Oh, yeah.
It's a full-on, no-holds-barred critique
Okay.
of woke culture and its take on race and racism in America today.
Right.
So we are going deep on this one.
Yeah.
You ready to unpack that?
Absolutely. I think it's important to approach this video objectively.
Right. Yeah.
Consider the arguments presented, but also understand the broader context of these sensitive topics.
Okay, so he jumps right in,
Yeah.
claiming that the real problem isn't racism itself, but rather, quote, race hustle.
Okay.
He actually uses air quotes.
He does air quotes.
Around the term.
Yeah.
So what's your take on that?
Well, first, let's acknowledge that the term race hustler itself
Okay.
is often used to discredit
Okay.
and dismiss individuals who speak out against racial injustice. It implies that they're somehow profiting
Yeah.
from these issues,
Okay.
shifting the focus away
Right.
from genuine concerns about systemic inequalities.
Yeah.
So it's crucial to recognize the historical context here. Throughout history, those who challenge the status quo have often been labeled with derogatory terms
Yeah.
to silence their voices and undermine their message.
Okay, so he's setting the stage with a pretty provocative, right?
Right.
And then he spends a good chunk of time
Yeah.
railing against woke culture,
Yeah.
arguing that it's actually fanning the flames
Oh.
of racial tension.
Mm-hmm.
He even uses this analogy saying woke activists would practically be out of a job
Uh-huh.
if race is
Okay.
pretty gold, don't you think?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
It is. And it plays into this larger narrative
Right.
that portrays social justice movements
Mm-hmm.
as self-serving or even manipulative.
Right.
But if we take a step back,
Okay.
it's important to remember that these movements are driven by individuals with diverse motivations.
Okay.
Many of them are deeply committed
Right.
to addressing genuine societal problems.
So is he suggesting that these movements are actually invested in maintaining
I mean,
a state of afflict?
yeah,
Because that seems like a pretty cynical viewpoint.
it is important
Yeah.
to consider the implications
Yeah.
of framing social justice movements
Right.
in this way.
Okay.
Because by suggesting that they thrive on conflict,
Mm-hmm.
it dismisses the possibility of genuine progress and reconciliation.
Right.
It creates a narrative
Yeah.
where any attempt to
Yeah.
address systemic inequalities
Okay.
is automatically suspect.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying there aren't ever bad actors
Yeah.
or that every tactic is effective.
Yeah.
But to paint entire movements with such a broad brush
Yeah.
is, I think, a dangerous oversimplification.
That actually ties into another controversy.
Okay.
He says that, according to him, racial tensions are actually worse now
Oh, why?
than they were during the civil rights era
Okay.
of the 60s and 70s.
Wow.
He even says he's spoken to people who lived through that period, and
Yeah.
they agree. What are we to make of that?
Well, this is where a deeper understanding
Yeah.
of historical context is crucial.
Right.
While societal awareness of racial issues has certainly increased in recent decades,
Okay.
it's essential to avoid making overly simplistic comparisons across different time periods.
Okay.
Remember, the civil rights era saw
Yeah.
overt forms of discrimination and segregation,
Right.
which were legally sanctioned.
Right.
Those blatant injustices have been challenged and dismantled
Yeah.
to a significant extent,
Yeah.
which is a testament to the progress that has been made.
Okay.
However, acknowledging that progress
Yeah.
doesn't mean we ignore the very real inequalities that persist today, often in more subtle and systemic.
Okay. So we've got this claim
Yeah.
that things are actually worse now
Right?
than during a time of widespread segregation and legal discrimination.
Yeah.
And he's using anecdotal evidence
Yeah.
to support this. It definitely seems like he's cherry picking data
Well,
to fit his narrative.
relying solely on anecdotal evidence
Yeah.
can be misleading,
Oh,
especially when
yeah.
dealing with complex societal issues.
Yeah.
It's important to look at the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And that's where data,
Right.
rigorous research come in.
Right.
There's a wealth of information available
Okay.
that can help us understand the evolution of racial dynamics over time.
Okay.
And it's essential to consider that evidence when evaluating such sweeping claims.
But is there anything to his point
Mm.
that maybe we've swung the pendulum too far in the other direction?
Okay.
That perhaps this hyper focus on race
Yeah.
is actually making things worse?
Okay.
He uses this term professional victim
Okay.
to describe people
Right.
who are constantly talking about race and race.
That term is problematic
Okay.
because it further delegitimizes the experiences
Okay.
of those who face discrimination.
Right.
It reinforces the idea
Okay.
that they are somehow profiting from their suffering
Mm.
rather than genuinely seeking justice and equality.
So is he advocating for just ignoring these issues altogether? Because he spends a good chunk of the video talking
Yeah.
about how people need to stop blaming racism for their problems
Well,
and
okay.
just move on.
It seems he's promoting personal responsibility
Right.
as the primary solution
Right.
to societal inequality,
Right.
which is a core tenet
Yeah.
of individualistic ideology.
Right.
Now, personal responsibility is undeniably important.
Right.
We should all strive to take ownership of our choices and actions.
Right.
But it's crucial to recognize
Okay.
that this individualistic perspective
Yeah.
doesn't fully account for the systemic factors
Okay.
that contribute to racial disparity.
To illustrate his point,
Okay.
he shares this very personal story
Right.
about how he used to blame racism
Uh-huh.
for not making the basketball kid,
Right.
but later realized he just wasn't good enough.
Yeah. This anecdote reveals a key aspect of his argument,
Okay.
that self-perception plays a significant role
Okay.
in shaping one's outcomes.
Right.
He's suggesting that by focusing on external factors like racism,
Right.
individuals might be limiting their own potential
Oh, okay.
and hindering their own progress.
It's interesting because while he's pushing this idea of personal responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
he then contradicts himself
Okay.
by arguing that black people, he gets pretty fired up about this,
Right.
saying it's wrong to say only white people can be racist.
This brings us to
Yes.
the highly debated concept of reverse racism.
Right.
The idea
Right.
that people of color can be prejudiced against white people.
Right.
He seems to be saying
Yeah.
that racism is solely about individual prejudice.
No, okay.
But that understanding
Yeah.
ignores the power dynamics inherent in systemic racism.
Right.
In other words, racism isn't just about individual bias.
Right.
It's about prejudice plus power.
So is he equating individual acts of prejudice
Wow.
with the systemic oppression
Exactly.
that's rooted in historical and institutional power structures?
Yeah.
Because that seems like a false equivalency.
It's crucial
Yeah.
to distinguish between personal prejudice,
Right.
which anyone can exhibit,
Right.
and systemic racism,
Yeah.
which is embedded in institutions and policies
Right.
leading to disparities
Right
in
on.
various aspects of life. The video seems to downplay
Yeah.
this crucial distinction,
Right.
potentially leading viewers to a misinformed understanding
Right.
of how racism operates in society.
He's definitely presenting a very specific perspective,
He is.
one that emphasizes personal accountability
Yeah.
while minimizing the role of systemic factors.
Right.
And he's doing it with a very in-your-face style
Yeah.
that's bound to get a reaction.
Yeah, I think it's certainly thought-provoking.
Right.
And whether you agree with him or not,
Yeah.
he raises some questions
Right.
that warrant deeper exploration.
Yeah.